Let's take a look at Adobe Photoshop's new sky replacement tool with two images that I've recently took out in the field here in central France and see if it does what I need to do as a photographer, as a professional photographer, see if it's able to blend the skies properly when I've taken two exposures, as I didn't have graduated filters with me. Does it, or does it not work? Let's see, let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at Adobe Photoshop's new sky replacement tool. So let's take a look at two different examples of using Adobe Photoshop's sky replacement tool and see if they actually work or not, see if we come up against any problems, because I think it's absolutely worth exploring different scenarios with this tool because not everything is as equal as you might think it is. What I'm going to use is a very simple skyline. So I'm going to be using, which you might be able to see on my screen at the moment, a vineyard shot with a quite an even horizon. And then I'm going to use another image, which if you follow me on Instagram, you would have found the other day, where it's an old sunken boat in the River Loire, and in the background is the bridge at a place called Luynes, the suspension bridge that goes across the River Loire. However, the horizon is very, very cluttered, and I think maybe it's going to come up with some issues, but maybe not. Let's see. Let's take a look at the first scenario. So the first one, as I mentioned, is this vineyard shot here. This is the department of Charente in south central France. Beautiful area to visit, and certainly at the moment with all the autumn colour. Now I did take two exposures when I did this particular scene here, as you will have seen in a previous YouTube video. So basically I used the auto exposure bracketing on my Canon to take an exposure for the foreground and an exposure for the sky. So I don't want to use the sky replacement tool to actually replace the sky with something else. I want to replace it with my own sky that was there. So you go to Edit and then Sky Replacement. Now what it's going to do first of all is you've got these default skies that it's going to put in. And I look at that and think, okay, that's fine. It's almost kind of what was there anyway, but I don't want that. I want my own sky that I took. I want the reality of it. So let's click on New Sky. And then if I click on the file there, this is the actual sky that was there. So it'll just take a few seconds to load in the sky. You can already see the dilemma though, as I click on the new name there. You can already see the dilemma that photographers are going to have now, is that people are going to look at our work and go, is that actually real or not? So I can assure you that what you're seeing here is the sky that was there. If you've seen the YouTube video, you will know that. So let's just click on this and then look at this actual tool itself. So we've got Shift Edge, we've got Fade Edge, and if you hover over them, it will say what it is that they do. So this basically says here, Shift Edge, you can expand or contract the sky in the foreground boundary. Fade Edge, if I hover over the slider there, then it will say soften the sky in the foreground boundary. You've got the brightness adjustments for the sky, the color temperature. So if I wanted to make the sky a lot cooler, for example, like this, then I could do that, or a lot warmer. Honestly, I don't want to be doing that. I want the sky as I saw it. Let's just take that back to 0. Scale, that's going to increase the scale of the sky that's there in the background. And then you've got your blending mode there in the foreground for the foreground image there. So when you look at this, you might be thinking, hey, well, it's done a good job. And it's like, yeah, it's not bad. However, there are some issues here. So you can see a little bit of fringing there that's going on. Not unusual really when you're dealing with a scene like this. Do wonder whether this is something here, whether this is really come in properly or not. So let's shift the edge, let's shift it into a minus and see what it does. So it starts to very slowly remove any fringing there. That's getting a lot better. So it's not bad, but it's not perfect. So let's just click OK. And then what it will do is you can see it creates all these different layers here. You look at that and think, yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. What's the problem? As I said, for me, it's always a time issue. So you're having to think, okay, let's go through what can we sort out. And I want to point out to you, if you start turning off these layers here, I want you to take a look at this layer here, the sky, and what it's actually done. So if I turn off the foreground layer there and turn on the background layer, it's only given you a small portion of the sky. So if you do need to make a lot more adjustments, it's not giving you a lot to work with. So let's take a look at the next example and see exactly if it's really going to work as I would want it to. So in this example, it's not bad, but it's not perfect either. So let's take that off and let's go to example number 2. Let's look at example number 2 in Adobe Photoshop of using that new sky replacement tool and seeing if the software can cope with what I'm going to throw at it. So I'm going to choose this image here. So if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen this the other day. I took 2 exposures again. I used the auto exposure bracketing on the Canon 5D Mark IV to take a foreground image, and then I took the exposure for the sky. So it was about 2.5, 3 stops down. So let's go to Edit and then Sky Replacement. Now it's going to load in a sky I don't want. It's going to load in a fake sky. So let's remove that. Let's go to New Sky. And I'm already in the folder for the original sky. Let's press Open, let it crunch away and do its thing. Let's click OK there. Already you can see, as soon as the image has loaded in there, the issues that it's created. Now for me, these are always issues that when you start looking at them, they equal time. Time is money. To then have to sit here and fiddle trying to work out what I'm going to do with this is not really what I need to be doing. So let's take the Move tool. So it's on Move. You've got all these different tools down here. You've got the Move tool, and there's the brush tool there, you've got the hand tool, and you've got the zoom tool. So let's take the Move tool. Let's move this bridge into position, or try to move it into position. So you can see already that for some reason it's scaled up the background image, that it's made it bigger than the original. Why? I have no idea. So let's go to Scale. So it's on 100% at the moment. So let's flip that down to 95. And let's try and move that into position. That's not bad. It's getting there, certainly on this tower here, but not on these here. So again, let's scale it down. Let's take it to 90. You can see now, as I said, time is money. And you're looking at this and thinking, great, so I've got to fiddle about trying to find what scale it is when the original is already at scale. Why do I have to do this? Let's take it down to 85. Let's try and get it in there, try and match it up. You can see it's getting there. It's not too bad. Let's go a little bit bigger. This looks as if it might actually be around the size I need it. So just by eye, just sort of trying to match everything up, you can see I've done a pretty good job there. But there are some issues. What are they? One, it's time. It's just taken however long to try and find the actual scale that I need. The second issue is if you look along the river here, the River Loire, you can see this very straight edge. Now when you click OK and go into new layers, I've already tried this myself before doing this quick tutorial here, or this quick, let's say, critique of this, is that you can see that it will create new layers with layer mask, etc. But we don't have much more of this image to play with. We need actually more of it, at least down to here or so. Can I get it? No, I don't think so. You've got the shift edge there, you've got the fade edge. Let's try the shift edge. Let's see what that does. So the shift edge is not going to work. That's not actually giving us any more of the image than we need. I'm going to have to crop it. Okay, that's not such a bad thing, but hey, you know, it's just like, why do I want to lose more and more of my image when I compose my images in camera using the live view to get exactly what it is that I want? Something that I would say to Adobe is, if they're listening, something that would be good is that you could quickly, so I had to eyeball where this was going, is if you could change the blend mode on the fly to difference so you could see where you're lining things up. Because if you've ever done that before, if you've ever used two exposures and then you've got to see if they're lined up or not, if you put them one above the other, change the blend mode of one of them to difference, then you can see where things are lining up. So let's just click OK and let's just see what happens. So you can see what it's done here. But this is the issue that you've got, is that this is what it's done, is it's taken not a lot of the image there, and you can see that where all of this is down here, where maybe I might want to paint stuff in, or here, is that you've got this very straight line. I need more of that image there. I'm then going to have to start going in, and I'm going to have to start brushing things in or brushing things out more and more time, and it's a lot easier to basically have the two images together and actually learn how to properly blend using Photoshop's tools. And there are many tools in Photoshop in order to blend two images together. I've actually got a video on blending images in Photoshop. If you take a look at that, you should be able to take something like this, an image like this, and use those tools in that tutorial in order to help you blend images. Let's do a bit of a summing up of what it is that we've got here. So there's a quick run through of the new Adobe Photoshop sky replacement tool. Now, is it all it's cracked up to be? I guess if you're blending images that have a very straight and even horizon, then it's fine. If you like to replace skies, well, you know, if that's your bag, then you go ahead and do what it is you want to do. But for me, then it's not photography, it's more about composites rather than real photography. Is it really what I want? No, not really, because what I learned to do a long time ago is actually start to use Photoshop properly, Adobe Photoshop properly, and just be able to go through it and think, how do I properly blend photographs together when I've taken two exposures, one for the foreground and one for the sky? There's several different methods to do that in Adobe Photoshop. As always, with Adobe Photoshop, go and find my old video on blending images together using the gradient tool, using, I think it was calculations, using the luminosity masks. There's all different ways that you can learn to blend images together. Yes, there's a new sky replacement tool, but as soon as you throw it a very complicated horizon, it's not really going to work from what I can see at the moment. So, hey, you know, it's a tool. Know it's there, know how to use it, but is it perfect? No, it's not there, not yet. But, you know, kudos to them for what it is they're doing. It's not bad, but yeah, it's not really there yet. In any case, I hope you've enjoyed a quick look at how I might use it and whether or not it's worth it for me. Definitely not worth it for me, but I know it's there. In any case, see you on the next vlog, wherever that might be. I think it may be in the Loire Valley or somewhere in central France. We will see. In any case, if you've enjoyed it, subscribe down there if you haven't done so already. Click on the notification bell, and thanks again to all my subscribers that are coming along now and commenting more that I'm putting up regular videos. See you on the next one, wherever that may be. Till the next time, stay safe up there. See you again soon. Bye.